Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sacramento politicians and their counterparts in Riverside County have been governing in the most dysfunctional and irresponsible way. Whether it's a $10 billion unfunded pension liability in the county of Riverside, or growing the budget at a factor of 15 times the population growth, or paying excessive compensation, including dozens of bureaucrats in Riverside County who make more than $500,000 a year. That's a true story. Or whether it's the lackluster advocacy for this county before Sacramento politicians who are crafting the most corrupt legislation and putting it down the throats of Riverside County residents. Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for an independent watchdog to serve as a check and balance on a Riverside County Board of Supervisors run amok. I'm presenting my profile for consideration here in Riverside County. I bring 10 years of public sector experience as a mayor and a city council member in deep blue Los Angeles County. That's true. And I fought a corrupt left-wing establishment every step of the way as the only Republican elected official in that entire region. And guess what? I won. Lowering fees across the board, challenging corrupt public schools, and every step of the way I have reflected victory across the board, and I want to bring the same discipline to Riverside County.
Next question, 1 minute. What are the boundaries of your office and what made you run for office?
Okay, I've already described the boundaries already, so what made me run for office? I feel that Riverside County just isn't doing enough, for one thing. One of the issues, of course, is crime. I'm very close friends with Chad Bianco, and I've met with him numerous times. And there's a lot of problems, of course, in Riverside County, the city here, with homeless camps all over the place. We have numerous fires, like 2 or 3 in a week. And one of the problems we have is that County of Riverside isn't even taking care of the brush along the side of the roads. We've talked to them over and over again, called them up. And just over a week ago, I went to the County Board of Supervisors and I addressed the issue. I said, took pictures and everything. I said, we've got brush everywhere on the side of roads, and you're not taking care of the problem. And I think that's something that we can look at Maui, what happened there. And this actually was, looked there beforehand. Anyway, that was a big issue because those fires could come here, and so that has to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. The boundaries of my district are Murrieta and Temecula in the southwest, up to the French Valley, East Hemet, all the way to Anza on the east. Ladies and gentlemen, I turned out of my city council position in deep blue Los Angeles County, and I kicked myself out, by the way, because I authored the ordinance on term limits, and I believe in term limits across the board, even in Riverside County, and members of Congress especially. And so I knew coming to the end of my term that Los Angeles no longer shared my values, and I wanted to look to greener pastures, or redder pastures as it were, and I found a home in southwest Riverside County. Last year, I was also the Republican nominee for California State Treasurer. I garnered 4.5 million votes in California. I was the second highest Republican vote getter in the entire state of California, and my most active grassroots support actually came from the Temecula Valley region and southwest Riverside County. And so this has a special place in my heart. My most committed supporters are from this region, and they have asked me to step up, and I am doing that and offering humbly my background for consideration.
90 seconds. What are the 3 top issues you want to bring change to your district?
Okay. Of course, to address crime and homelessness. That's the number 1 issue in Riverside County. Number 2, we have homeless veterans. That increased 31% in the 1st district last year. I'd like to go in and actually build more apartments for veterans and make sure that I don't know if everybody's been to Veteran Services, but they have this little tiny building that's like totally outdated over on Lime Street, and they don't even have enough staff. So that would be my #1 issue, is to get with the Veteran Services, increase the staff, and also to get a new building for that place, because veterans are really in my heart. And that's one of the things we need to do. We can't leave our veterans without the services they need. I've already used those services, and I went in there, and they just don't have enough staff. They're just running around all the time, and a lot of veterans just aren't getting the services they need. That's another thing. And then another one is foster care is not being dealt with right now. I think everybody remembers the Turpin family and how the county just isn't dealing with the foster care. The kids aren't getting taken care of. It's still a problem. It's not being taken care of. It needs to be dealt with. We need to make sure that all of the children that we have are taken care of, and they have proper foster care, not put into abusive.
Multiple issues of interest to me. My background professionally is as a certified public accountant. I'm a practicing economist for a large financial institution. I've worked in finance and treasury functions my entire professional life. I have degrees in economics from Harvard and from Stanford universities. And so for me, the #1 issue is financial and internal administrative controls. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the pernicious influence of vendors, contractors, consultants on the budget of Riverside County is disastrous. There is a way that those interests have to be balanced and checked. And so I want to commit my professional background. I have experience doing this when I was a mayor in Los Angeles County. I conducted my own forensic examination of the city's accounts, delivered a 10-page summary of findings to the California State Controller, and demanded a forensic examination. When he ignored me, I went to the Los Angeles Times. They published an article, one of the few favorable articles, about a Republican elected official, and the controller came knocking on the door immediately. And so that is one victory that I can ascribe to my performance as a mayor, and I'm going to bring that discipline to Riverside County. I also believe that quality of life issues are important. This includes public safety, it includes economic development, and then finally, I think we need a leader who can be an advocate for the people against the political establishment in Sacramento.
Amen.
Too often, we have lackluster leaders here, and even if the state issues do not fall within my formal jurisdiction, they fall within my moral obligation to get involved. Last Thursday, I was in Murrieta School Board District, and I spoke at the microphone in favor of parental rights. It is my obligation as a leader to stand for this.
All right, this is direct questions to the candidates, and Jack, there's a lot of questions for you here, but you can keep us here all night. You and another candidate. And you've answered some of these, so I'm not going to ask the question from somebody that maybe submitted it. Jack has already answered some of those in the last few questions, and so I'm going to ask, dealing with county budgets. It's very important that obviously we have a good district attorney, and we have a good county sheriff. But we also have an issue of keeping businesses in Riverside County. What is your stance in keeping businesses and improving the budgets to make sure criminals get prosecuted, and we open up our new facility that has gone unopened for the last couple of years, I believe, and so please address those issues on those. Go ahead. You're up. So.
Yes. Like I mentioned at the outset, I am committed to uncovering every stone that relates to the financial internal controls of this town and of this county. And that means looking at the budget like a hawk. I have done that my entire life professionally. And I can tell you in Riverside County, the budget between the last 2 fiscal years actually grew by 15%. In that same time period, the population of the county grew 1%. Now, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we are spending more money every year in excess of both inflation and population. Well, let me tell you something, County Riverside, that's not your money. When you spend in excess of both population and inflation, you need to give it back to the taxpayer, unless there is justifiable reason to keep spending, like one-time capital improvements or recurring expenses. But beyond that, we need fiscal discipline. Now, I support investing in those areas that make sense, like fighting crime, like prosecuting criminals, absolutely. But when we have a factor of increase that is 15 times faster than population, we need a little bit of discipline. I looked into those budgetary line items, and the majority of that increase is actually compensation, believe it or not. But most politicians at different levels of government are afraid to stand up to the public sector unions. That's the cold reality, right? Because they run the show. Well, I am not afraid of the public sector unions. A lot of the members of the unions do very honorable work. I am pro-worker, but I am against the pernicious consequences of a lot of the work that the unions fight for. And we need to have a check and balance, somebody that can advocate for the taxpayer against this very pernicious political environment.
Are you going to open the 1,200 bed facility sitting empty in Indio? That's a jail.
It's a
Jail facility. Sorry.
You know, this is a sensitive issue, and certainly I want to take into consideration public input. But let me tell you, I am always skeptical of government mandates that go into communities, into local communities, without getting the buy-in of residents. This is happening all over the state, mostly from a corrupt legislature in Sacramento that is ramming policies down our throats without asking local communities. You see this, for example, with high-density housing that is infiltrating a lot of communities out of character with the local communities. And we really need politicians, we need statesmen who can stand up and advocate on behalf of our residents. So with respect to this particular issue, I do support asking and obtaining support from the applicable communities impacted by that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Indio jail is already built. So what it is right now is they actually are needing to they haven't opened the whole thing. So only part of it's been opened, and so what we need to do basically is open the next level and add more jail beds to the facility. So that's an Indio, so that's already built. It's not an issue with the community. But anyway, that's something that needs to be done. We need to have more jail beds. There's other facilities, Friendship Valley and Manning. There's quite a few of them that they could add more beds to those facilities. And I think that the issue, of course, is working with the county supervisor would work with the sheriff and the DA because they're elected officials. So the difference between a city and a county is the person who is in charge of the chief of police would be elected, and he's under the council and under the general manager. But with the county supervisors, we, as a county supervisor, you would be just basically like Chad Bianco. He would come to the board of supervisors, and he comes there, and he has his budget, and he tells the board of supervisors, this is what I want. And it's a job of this county supervisor to say, hey, yeah, we are going to approve everything you got here and everything you want. And so that is what our job would be as a county supervisor, is to look at his budget and say, yeah, great, you've got a good budget here, you've got everything that you want, we're agreeing with. And that would be something that, you know, most of the time that would happen. I mean, unless you have a different, a different sheriff, of course. But I would agree with that. He's done a very good job. He's done a great job. He's done everything we want. And somebody who's actually out in the county area, really appreciate what he's done. The actual sheriffs love him. And that's another thing, is to make sure he has
a follow-up question. Will you improve increased budgets for the DA and the county sheriff to continue opening the facility in here?
Yes. I would definitely.
I think that was the question. Thank you. All right, Jack, one more question before closing statements. Jack, you recently moved into the area, and that's the number one question I think that folks are asking, and I think you and I have had a conversation at another rally. That's how do you feel that moving in from LA County to Riverside County is going to impact your your candidacy?
Yes, I do want to address that head on. Like I mentioned at the outset, I turned out of my city council position by my own doing. I kicked myself out, and I stand by that decision. It was appropriate to pass the baton to other people. As good as you are in any political position, it's appropriate to pass the baton. I did that with my head held high. I moved to Riverside County. I have long ties to this region, including my aunt and uncle buying a house in the 1980s in Temecula, and my cousins and extended family firmly established in Riverside County. When I ran for California State Treasurer, I received significant support from the Temecula Valley region. I campaigned extensively in Riverside County, and let me tell you, I won Riverside County with 53% of the vote. And in District 3, I actually won with an estimated 2/3 of the vote. I am the only candidate running for county supervisor in this district who has actually won in this district. Because Chuck Washington, the Democratic incumbent, has actually not run in the district with the new parameters post-redistricting. And so I'm coming here to offer my background, both in the private sector and the public sector, humbly. And you know what? If it resonates with the people, I am all in 100%. And if it doesn't, I am offering merely an alternative, a conservative, principled alternative.
3 minutes, closing statement.
Yes, well, I think I actually represent the area pretty well. But I would appreciate everybody's vote, because I think that I would like to change Riverside County, bring it back to where it is like 5 or 10 years ago. We have a really great county sheriff and a DA who are doing a fantastic job. And my job would be to make sure that they were given everything they need, to make sure that they have everything they need to do their job. Another issue, of course, is, I don't know if people realize it, but we have a problem with too many warehouses. That's a big issue. And the trucks are going up all of the roads here in the city of Riverside, all over the place. And one of the problems is it actually jeopardizes the March Air Reserve Base, because they're trying to put these warehouses actually right there on the end of the runway. And I don't know if a lot of people are aware of it, but there was the city of Moreno Valley who approved something there. And then there was a couple lawsuits that were filed just to save the Air Force Base. It's a big issue. It's something that's probably not, people are not aware of, but I've been fighting that for quite a while now. And we have to get a moratorium on warehouses, because it's basically becoming overwhelming, and that's one of the things we need to do. One of the things that this county supervisor is also on a number of different committees, RCTC, anyway, a lot of different committees, and they affect a lot of different decisions that are happening throughout the state and also throughout the county. And so one of them is Air Quality Board. It has an impact on our air quality. It has an impact on our transportation issues, and the buses that we have out here, and the RCA, which is the Riverside County open space. There's so many things that the county supervisors actually do that people aren't even aware of, that affect everybody's, everything you do in your life, basically. So they actually do everything from when you get a birth certificate to a death certificate, the coroner's office. There's so many things that the supervisors actually affect in everybody's life that makes it a better place for everybody to live. I've been out here for over 35 years, and I have worked with a lot of different agencies, churches, and groups to help them out. One of the things that the supervisors do is they have funding to help out the churches and different things, and that's one of the things I want to do, is make sure we get that done.
Thank you. Candidate Guerrero, closing statement, 3 minutes.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for the opportunity to address you on this beautiful evening. I am a resident of Riverside County. I have purchased a home, not rented a home. I have relocated my family and my professional affairs to Southwest Riverside County. I am all in this community. It reflects my values. I do not want what has happened in Los Angeles to happen to Riverside County, and I am uniquely positioned to spot it and to fight it and to expose it at every step of the way. When I was mayor of my community back in Los Angeles, I fought the left-wing establishment at every opportunity when I was on a 4-1 council. In fact, I was the only Republican elected official in a 7-city radius. For better or worse, I was the face of the Republican Party. And guess what? I won every step of the way on key issues. I helped derail multiple tax measures, not just in my city, but in the neighboring cities, to the point where all of the neighboring city council members to this day refuse to talk to me because I derailed their own tax measures in their communities. That's a true story. I took on the public schools even though I was a mayor. I held public hearings on the quality of education in my local public schools, replete with testimony and minutes and public podium speakers. And you know what I did? I indicted the local public schools as failure factories. And the local school district in Los Angeles, downtown LA, summoned me to their office, and within a few days of my activity at the city council chamber, the entire administration of one of the schools was reformed. And that's attributable to the effort that I did. And I want that to be a testament to pushing the envelope just a little bit. Sometimes when your work is outside the scope, or sometimes when you're asked to do things that are outside the scope or the purview of your responsibility, it's a good thing to do that, to push the envelope, because some amazing things can really happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I am offering humbly my support or my background as a public official, as a private sector professional with many years of experience in finance and economics. In my early professional career, I was an auditor, much like Mr. Carvajal. I audited municipalities, I audited agencies of the federal government like the Department of Energy, the national laboratories, the United States Department of the Treasury. I worked for George W. Bush in the Treasury Department as well. So I know municipal government, I know federal government, and I have in my blood the mindset of an auditor, and nothing will get past me. I will be monitoring things like a hawk. So ladies and gentlemen, if you want somebody that will go along to get along, I'm not your candidate, and that's okay. But if you are seeking revolution, if you are seeking somebody that will push the envelope, even if I'm the only Republican on that board, I will expose, I will investigate, and I will put the other board members on alert and on notice that they cannot do whatever they want without somebody holding them accountable. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.